from the outset that one of the most difficult parts of the peace agreement was the integration of the RPA soldiers into the new Rwanda National Army. The problem was twofold. One was that the soldiers of the Rwanda government army under Habyarimana were convinced that RPF soldiers could not be loyal to Rwanda because they had been soldiers in another country, meaning Uganda. And they were very serious on this one, meaning that they tended to regard them as foreigners. Two, they also feared that the percentages given would give the RPF a proportionately unfair number in the new national army. At that time, the population of Rwanda was, I think, 84% Hutu, 14% Tutsi, and 1% Twa. So there was a fear that that provision of representation would be proportionately unfair to the RPF, which to the protagonists meant Tutsi. But let's go into the agreement bit by bit, and it will be up to you to judge how implementable some of these provisions were. Article 1 states that the war between the government of the Republic of Rwanda and the Rwandese Patriotic Front is hereby brought to an end. Article 2 stresses the importance of all the earlier agreements and outlines power sharing within the framework of a broad-based transitional government and the rule of law. Article 3 amends several parts of the then existing Rwanda Constitution. It also stipulates that in case of a conflict between the other provisions of the Constitution and those of the peace agreement, the provisions of the peace agreement shall prevail. However, Article 4 also states that in case of conflict between the provisions of the fundamental law and those of other laws and regulations, the provisions of the fundamental law shall prevail. In Article 5, the government of the Republic of Rwanda and the Rwandese Patriotic Front undertake to make every possible effort to ensure that the present peace agreement is respected and implemented. They further undertake to spare no effort to promote national unity and reconciliation. In Article 6, the Habyarimana government and the RPF agree on the appointment of Mr. Faustin Twagiramungu as Prime Minister of the broad-based transitional government. Article 7 directs that the transitional institutions stipulated shall be set up within 37 days following the signing of the peace agreement. We must add that this failed to materialize. Article 8 stipulates that the Habyarimana government shall remain in office until the broad-based transitional government is established, but adds that this government must not encroach on the mandate of the broad-based transitional government being established. This was also a tricky provision. Article 9 also stipulates that the existing parliament, called Council for National Development, shall remain in office until the Transitional National Assembly is established. However, as from the date of the signing of the peace agreement, this parliament shall not enact laws. A parliament not allowed to enact laws is also a tricky prospect, to say the least.